From engaging and meaningful challenge to lazy and artificial difficulty, COD Zombies has ultimately regressed from its golden age farther than anyone could have expected, and it all stems from a single point in time. Today, I'll be discussing the ingenious simplistic difficulty curve of classic zombies, its evolution, and what caused Treyarch to fall to the wrong path that we've been feeling the effects of for the past few years.
Come close and look at the queso cheese and lunch meat versus whatever that is. So versus stick. I like my cheese drippy, bruh. This is a lunchly salsa right here. Look at the consistency, the texture. And this is Lunchables. This is, look, it's watery. It's out cream. And look at that. With 400 milligrams of electrolytes, my God. Even in greater numbers, you will fall before me. Fuck, they're between me and my boss.
Those familiar with the extensive library of COD Zombies understand the mode's obvious development over time. Each map, and more so each game, introduces its own set of additions and refinements to the mode, and as time went on, these changes surmounted into many new and unique experiences that had all built upon each other. World at War made strides in gameplay innovation, quickly adding major staple features in each map. Black Ops 1 innovated on map design, making each map truly feel unique with its own extreme design philosophies brought to the forefront. Black Ops 2 cultivated the sandbox-like adventure style of map that took precedent over the next few years and brought a level of respect for player intelligence that was unheard of in blockbuster AAA titles. Black Ops 3 doubled down on this design and pushed a community to engage with the game, developers, and each other like never before. Black Ops 4 saw pushback from corporate in search of a larger audience while still trying to retain its identity, which ultimately failed. This failure leads us to the great divide in the design philosophy of the game that is the subject of this video. This comment from Nefer is what inspired me to write about this topic, so make sure to comment on this video. I do my best to reply to as many of them as I can. In his comment, he brings up how Black Ops Cold War is when Treyarch started designing maps with more open lanes and generally larger play areas, which leads to a lack of tension and the player feeling too safe. I agreed with him and wrote that Cold War is really when zombies difficulty changed from being environment based to damage based, which is essentially the thesis of this video and what I'll be explaining as we move forward. Environment-based difficulty is what I'll be referring to as the style of difficulty found in zombies from the start up until Black Ops 4. The difficulty in these games comes almost exclusively from the structure and elements within the map, particularly in the geometry, enemies, and the tools the player is presented with. If you've ever played an amateur custom zombies map, you know the feeling of running around a map with entirely too much space open to the player, feeling like you could run in circles forever and never break a sweat.
What's happening? What's happening? I told you. What's happening? What's happening? Just don't switch guns. Just don't switch guns. No!
This is why good maps that present a challenge are made up of tight corridors and doorways intended to make the player think twice before running through. Open spaces perfect for training are rare on classic zombies maps, and those that exist are commonly affected by something out of the player's control in order to provide at least a little tension. Map-specific enemies also contribute to difficulty. The napalm zombie on Shangri-La, for example, can close off pathways on an already claustrophobic map design, and they move slower than all the other zombies so the player can't manipulate them as easily. Every good special zombie in Zombies history has a creative design that presents a unique challenge to the player and has a symbiotic relationship with the map it's found on.
I like my cheese drippy, bruh.
Numbers-based difficulty is a philosophy that the difficulty of the game comes simply from enemy damage scaling, or rather the numbers affecting the enemies raise exponentially as time goes on. For example, starting with Cold War, zombie damage was altered from the classic standard 2 to 5 hits for a down into a scaling number. This is why in these newer games you feel like you have the vigor of a wet napkin as soon as your armor breaks past round 20.
This combined with Cold War's super sprinters is what dictates the feeling of the high round gameplay loop. Traditional training is mostly left behind for camping strategies using Ring of Fire in 99% of games that go past round 30. The ultimate result of these changes comes out to be a frankly boring beginning to every game and then an abrupt skill curve that doesn't let you feel a slow progression of difficulty. Making your game hard is not a bad thing. Zombies used to be hard. It used to have challenge. This is what made it exciting and addicting. No one is playing Cold War Zombies and getting hype when they hit round 20 for the first time because most people are getting there without even trying. COD has found itself as one of the biggest players in the biggest industry in the world, which makes it insanely difficult for them to continue this growth. The current belief they hold is that dumbing the game down to the lowest common denominator and thus lowering the barrier of entry into the dirt will get them that growth. This strategy does work. Player numbers continue to rise, but these are just players, not fans. This mindset is completely antithetical to what COD Zombies is, and as a result, the mode has lost its identity and has begun to resemble the corporate slop that we are so used to being given in the era of modern entertainment. The worst thing about it is that it doesn't need to be this way. In a time when they'd been put under fire the most for going against the modern philosophy In a time when they'd been put under fire the most for going against the modern philosophies of big budget gaming, From Software refused to compromise their vision and dumb their game down in pursuit of a larger audience. This was the best thing to happen to their franchise in its history. They rejected the notion of an easy mode and released Elden Ring, which featured all of the challenge and obscurity of their previous work, and they were still picked up and adored by the mainstream. Millions played it, and I'm sure a great number of them hated it. The difference is those that gave it a shot got to experience the uncompromised vision of a team of passionate developers. Soul and slop are words that get thrown around in conversations about media in general to the point where their meaning can be lost on some. They don't simply mean good or bad, or I like this thing and I don't like that thing. The concept of soul is simply that a game can be bigger than the sum of its parts. And it was crafted without compromise, and the piece of entertainment you're interacting with came from a unique vision from real people. Slop is the exact opposite. A product devoid of emotion or meaning. Another batch off the conveyor belt that could just as likely have come from ChatGPT or a boardroom. I'm not saying that Modern Zombies is entirely slop, although the product and company it's attached to is, which has obvious effects. I've already pre-ordered Black Ops 6, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited to play it. It's just that I feel as much dread of what will happen to the beloved mode if the big players at Treyarch don't have what it takes to stand up for the game's soul.
Okay,
Row one is clear. Row one is clear.
There was one there.